Push the weight enough flex. The live is one in the six. Fit the runner, boy, you nigga, no question. You would run a motherfucker high stepping. Hey, you never had a big enough weapon. Motherfucker never learned your lesson. I'm an 88 pack nigga. I'm an 88 pack nigga. I mean, day walker, drink blood, fangs out, full moon, motherfucker change like a hoe, nigga. I'm just a nigga from the hood trying to stack a little cheddar for the money.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Lightweight. Lightweight, baby. It's time to bleed. It's beautiful Friday. Drew Titan Bronx on deck. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Come on in, smash the like button. Hype the video. Share the video. We are our own algorithm. Let's not leave it up to Miguel to do anything for us, because he won't do anything for us. Y'all see the Rumble link, right? So y'all already know what kind of show this is going to be. When I call for it, y'all make sure y'all make that lateral move. It's not even a lateral move. Rumble's just better. Let's do this roll call. Dial Big G. Steve O'Sly. So what's going on, man? Y'all see the Rumble link? You already know what time it is. G McCall, Bernard Gilbert, over there on Rumble. Salute. Stormy, Rumble. Salute. The Netric Banner. Salute. Jalen Hudson, Black Jericho, Tim Harmon, Son of Tank, Marcus Banks, Bobby Collins. My brother Ratchet, what's good? 4-ounce Sniper. Thomas, what up? 704 Joe. Blade Brown. Thomas says this will be my only comment. It's all good. I need Whack Squad to pull up. I Rock, my brother, over there on Rumble. I need Active Squad to pull up. I need the Keyshawn fans to pull up. I got questions. Eden the Wild Salute. I got questions about this kid. True Boxing Night in the building. I got questions about this kid, and only you can answer them. I want to hear what you have to say, because I'm gonna challenge everything you say. I need the Keyshawn fans and Active Squad fans to pull up right now, front and center on this Friday. Romello, what up? Pull up. I'm calling out all the nonsense this year. I'm not wasting any time. Gone are the days of being diplomatic and babying these kids along. Gone. All right, let's have a conversation about Keyshawn. Let's have a conversation. Mac of the South, salute. His new name is Tio Negro. Tio Negro. That's his name. So, although he punked Tio, y'all know I don't like Tio. I think it's an insecure, well, you could be insecure all you want. There's nothing I can do about that. But to be a racist is, that's bad business. But what makes him any different from Teofimo? What makes him any different? What was my major complaint about Teofimo? What was my complaint about him? I said, man, this kid is talented. Is Teofimo talented? Yes. Can he fight? Yes. What was my only problem with Teofimo? Prove it. That's how it always starts out. Doesn't it? It always starts out. Hey, man, this kid's pretty good, man. I'd like to see him against this guy, that guy, this guy. And these guys are young. They're not like in their late to mid to late 30s. And they're surrounded by all this talent. I said, man, this will be a good fight. That'll be a good fight. Oh, man, yeah, I think Tio's nice. Uh-oh. It came down to him and Devin. Devin got the last strap. Lomachenko ducked. Teofimo took care of that Loma business. The battle of two kings. That's what I said. when it came down to Devin and Tio, the battle of two kings. That's what I said. I said, man, I don't know. I can't call this one. Tio's nice, and he got some pop to him. But Devin, that kid is a pure boxer. This is before we even knew Devin, like, personally. I said, I like this, man. And I was all hype, and then Tio started acting a fool. I'm like, hold on, man. Wait. Come on, don't do this. And he did it. Just running around, I'm really undisputed, and him and the WBC confused the world. And then I thought back, I said, wait a minute, didn't he say something funky in 2018 about freezing Devin out? Absolutely. I ain't got to play the clip. I done played it 1 billion times here. So I said, what's with this kid? And that's when I started to not like Tio. Had nothing to do with race. It had everything to do with his lack of integrity, his lack of challenging himself against his contemporaries, and eventually him trying to duck and dodge while make money in the process under the banner of the old regime. He lost. He was making fights with people that no casual. He was making fights with these guys that no casual knew. Nakatani. Nobody knew who Sandor Martin was. You had to really watch boxing to know these guys. And you wouldn't think, like, yeah, okay, but it's Tio. Nah, he went in those fights, and he was second thinking himself. And he revealed himself. I said, wait a minute. He fights Nakatani. He says, I'll never fight a tall fighter again. I'm like, who says that? Who says that? He gets in there with Sandor Martin. Do I still got it? Gets punked on stage by Keyshawn. Then it's brought to my attention. It's like, yo, you remember the situation we heard where Teofimo and Teofimo's dad got beat up for dropping an N-bomb during the sparring? I said, yeah. They said, well, that's that kid. I said, oh, Keyshawn, he did that? That's him? Oh, okay. It's like you match your name with the face. I remember that happened with Errol. Rumor was Errol beat up Floyd. Rumor was someone beat up Floyd Mayweather in sparring so bad that they put him out the gym. A few years later, I found out that's Errol. I said, oh, okay. All right. So I'm watching Tio, and I'm like, hey, bruh, he's out here creating stars. Why do you think Lomachenko versus Nakatani was labeled as such a good fight? Because Loma lost to Teofimo. Nakatani gave Teofimo problems, and everyone was saying, yo, I don't like this fight for Loma. Loma might get done. Man, Loma got in there and styled on Nakatani and stopped him. So you're looking at it like, yo, what's going on? That's why triangle theories really don't work, but whatever. Yeah, I'm reading what you're saying, Thomas, but it's still F. Keyshawn, and I'm explaining why. I'm no longer in the business waiting for these kids to bust a move, especially when they're saying they're going to bust a move, and they're not doing anything. I could do this, I'm going to do that, I'm the best here, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I look at what your moves are, and it's not a reflection of what you're saying you're doing. I'm not waiting on any of these kids. I'm not waiting on nothing. I'm not waiting on, oh, this fight need to build. No. The money's there for you. A la Turkey, a la Sheik. Your fan base is there. A la your social media. Get it popping. Because when the mic was thrown in his face, just a year ago, it was, oh, I only got X amount of fights, so, I'm not there yet. Huh? So why are you talking? Why are you talking? I wanted to see you versus Edwin De Los Santos. That Dominican brother could punch. What do? You come in 4 pounds overweight. And smiled about it. And then trolled. Then, when your brother got obliterated, you run backstage and start jumping on homie in the goddamn locker room. And that was the last thing we saw about boxing on ESPN. Thank you, Keyshawn. Monkey. Thank you. But let me make the connection between Tio Negro and Teofimo. Didn't Teofimo think he was the rock star that he wasn't? Didn't he? We got J-Lo. I never touched $1 million. That's what he said. He's online trolling. Y'all remember the clip of him doing sanitation work? Throwing some garbage bags into the back of some garbage truck? I said, that's funny. Now, did I ever once say that Teofimo was not talented? I started out saying he's super talented. But his mind ain't right. And I didn't know whether he was better than his contemporaries. How do we find out? By fighting. And all this posturing he did, and I'm not gonna do that, I'm not gonna do that, ran over the trailer. He blew off George Cambozo like 3 different times. Blew him off. Then finally ends up in the ring with him. What does he do? Lay an egg. Get dropped in the second or third round, first or second round, I forget. George outboxed him. George ran into trouble at round 10. He almost blew it, but he held on, showed that he's a dog, and he beat Teofimo and took 3 belts. I want y'all to understand, thanks to Teofimo, we know George Kambosos. If Teofimo beats George, you know what happens? He told y'all what was going to happen. He told us. Y'all already know what I was going to do with it. Remember? Remember he said that? You already know what I was going to do with it. I was going to drop the belts and make it a harder road for Haney. He said that. And I'm like, what is this obsession with him, while you're at it, you in your career, but while you're at it, you making sure that Haney doesn't move forward. What is that about? Did he bang your girl? Did you and your wife get into an argument and she threw his name around the house? What is that? Because last I checked, boxers are supposed to be like in the secret fraternity where they're supposed to be breaking bread and helping each other eat. And by the way, that's another way to interpret Devin Haney's list. Because you're not going to go broke fighting Devin. As a matter of fact, at this level, I think fighting Devin is going to be your highest payday. So I don't understand why people aren't beating down his door. But this ain't really about Devin. It's about these 2 fools, Teofimo and NEGRO. I don't understand it. Or do I? Awful lot of pump faking here. So he runs into George Cambozo, drops the ball. Devin has to take care of what he couldn't do. Devin goes on to be undisputed. Teofimo goes to 140 and does something good. What does he do? He beats Josh Taylor. I said, that's a great win, man. I spoke on it. That's a great win. It's a great win. But he continued to be fugazi. Fast forward to today. He finally gets in the ring with a contemporary in Shakur and got absolutely smoked like he was standing still. There was no part of that fight he won. I watched that fight about 5 times now, and I tried to give him rounds. I said, nah. There was no part of that fight that he won. Dude is depressed all backstage. He hates himself for it. All kinds of weird stuff. I said, this kid is mentally weak. And I said, oh, that's why. It ain't got nothing to do with only Devin. This is why he didn't want to fight any of his contemporaries. This is why. This is why he cowered before Keyshawn on the stage. Remember he had to put the damn paper in front of him? Absolutely sunned him. I said, what's that? Didn't respond to Keyshawn. Shakur, what's that? Completely ducked Devin for damn near 8 years. I said, what is that? Oh, then he gets it in with Shakur and got smoked. Oh, that's what it was about. It was fool's gold. What we learned is Teofimo is okay, but in comparison to his contemporary, he's not that good. We can say that. Welcome down Van Howe to salute. Scott in that super chat early salute. He says Keyshawn always has to be the loudest in the room. He does. And the loudest in the room got the glass jaw. I know that for a fact. Y'all remember that movie Tombstone? Great movie. My brother, Real Baltimore in the building. Smoke and Talk podcast. Salute. He says salute to my brother Drew. Salute to the chat. Drew, what we doing? Man, we cooking these fools this morning. We cooking these fools. Salute. Go subscribe to my brother Smoke and Talk podcast. That's a reaction channel. That's my guy right there. Real Baltimore. And salute to the chat if I missed y'all. I'm just cooking. So now, T.O. is the pure definition of exposed. You know why? He said he's going to 47 next, right? That's what he said. That's what he said. He also, with Val Kilmer, Kurt Russell, Tombstone. You want to know why I'm bringing that up? Kurt Russell, he comes into a bar, and there's a loudmouth in that bar, played by Billy Bob Thornton. And he's a bully. He's at the damn poker table. He's losing. He's smacking people. He looks at him. He's playing Wyatt Earp now. And he's like, yo, what's with this guy? He's like, he comes in here, he does this, he does that. He's like, man, he's just talking. So he goes up to Billy Bob Thornton. He jumps up. Yeah, what you want? Wyatt Earp slaps him. Bang! And he stares at him. I think he slapped him twice. And pretty much told him to behave. If you're going to play, play. But all that loud-mouthing and bullying people, we don't do that here. And he sat his ass down with tears in his eyes. So Wyatt Earp leaves, or he leaves. I forget how it goes, but that scene is very pivotal. Billy Bob comes back with a gun, and he made shit worse for himself. I'll just say that. But the loudest one in the room has the glass jaw. Y'all remember Dillian White? Hey, when I see Deontay, it's on site. I see it, it's on site. It's on site. Do y'all know they were at some sort of PBC convention, and when Dillian White was looking for a deal because he wanted to know whether he wanted to re-sign with Matchroom or not, they were in the same room. What did Dillian do? Nothing. He ain't even come say hello. Deontay was on one side of the room. He was on the other side. Now, I know all of you cats that never had a real life situation. I know y'all gonna say, well, why didn't Deontay go over there? He didn't need to. It's like me or anybody else in the LDBC. You know how many times we gotten threatened? Oh, when I see you at this fight, you going to that fight, I'm gonna be there. When I see you, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do, like Coach Malachi, Mr. LDBC Killer. You wearing a shirt that says LDBC Killer, had an army of people following behind you. Yeah. Don't let these dudes pump you up to get beat. That shirt might have looked cute, but I don't see it no more. And everybody you said you were gonna kill was in New York. When you came there, you didn't go to the weigh-in, you didn't go to the fight because you was afraid. You did go to my brother Marco's Comedy Club. So you flew from Tampon, Florida, all the way to New York to stay in your hotel room, saw the general, got scared, checked out the hotel, went somewhere else. You didn't go to the weigh-in or the fight, but you went to Marco's Comedy Club? Because you're a clown. You're a comedian. My brother Marco used to own a comedy club, y'all. He flew from New York, not to go to the Haney Ryan fight, but to go to my man's comedy club. That's a true story, because everybody you said you was going to kill was outside. I ain't see you at the fight, bro. And I was looking for you. We had to have a conversation. That's Teofimo Lopez, y'all. He's a watch winner. Watch winner. You know what that is? Watch when I do this. Watch when I do that. Watch when I do this. Watch when I do that. And I'm watching. You ain't doing anything. A large portion of his career is smoke and mirrors, because when he had an opportunity to do something under the old regime, you know what he was surviving on? His ethnicity. His ethnicity. His ethnicity. And they bought into him and his talent. And all he had to do was beat George Kambosos. And they were going to paint that as his coming out party. And he fumbled. the WBO and the WBC were conspiring to freeze Devin out. He said it in 2018. He said it. And then after he failed, he revealed in that interview, yeah, they stole it from me because you already know what I was going to do with it. What do you mean? I was going to drop the belts and move up, making a harder route for Haney. What is this obsession with stumbling Haney? Putting all these obstacles in front of Haney. What's that? Now, I understand that from Teofimo Lopez. When I do that for a reason. WBC. It's pretty much the Latino belt. The WBO. They have a no black fighter board in their offices. You know, I don't think y'all believe me. All right, this is Teofimo in 2018. Where's that? Listen carefully.
Hey, Devin Haney made a comment, you know, trying to make whatever it is. But at the end of the day, Devin, you don't know. The WBC is not going to have you, even if you do the competition, they're not going to have you fight for the title. You can get mad at everything. I'm fighting for the title after this fight, for the IBF. And then after that, me and Loma for all four. And where are you? You're not going to get a shot, bro. And you don't know that, but we do. And that's what we did. I'm not going to fight more fights. So it is what it is, man. Talk what you got to talk, my dude. But at the end of the day, you're not becoming a world champion at 135.
He said that in 2018. I said, oh, my God. Huh? And then I watched how they set up the chessboard. I said, oh, they really putting stock behind Teofimo. The only way to stop that is to what? Fight him and beat him. But Devin couldn't get a fight. And he revealed, and mind you, he was on ESPN. That's the WBO. They had a contract with ESPN. He was a top-ranked fighter, right? So he was backed by them. And he just threw the WBC under the bus. That's why I said he was existing off of his ethnicity. And then here's Cameron Duncan. Shout out to Fred Barbershop Conversations. This is where I got this from. Here's Cameron Duncan, who passed on. But he left us this gem. Listen.
I searched high and low to get your contact information, and I was talking. I'll tell you off air who it is. I won't say it on camera, but feel free to ask me. So I called the Mayweather gym, and they says, Fred, if I give you this number, you have to ask him this question. And I says, okay, what's the question? And they said, ask Cameron Duncan, do Top Rank have like columns of fighters? And they say, we don't want this guy fighting the black fighter. We don't want this fighter fighting the Mexican fighter, and so on and so forth.
You're going to get into the racial stuff, huh?
No, I'm not. I'm asking.
That's a theory there by the greatest matchmaker, probably, in my opinion, ever. And I'm not going to mention his name either, but you know what I'm talking about. And he used to have a thing up on his board, NBF, no black fighters. And when I was taught to bring up a fighter, you know, and again, it's just, he used to say to me, you can go anywhere in the country, and I'm going to leave it at this. I don't want to go into a long discussion because people are people in God's eyes, and we're all the same. He used to say to me, you can go anywhere into a city in America or anywhere in the world and ask a white guy, and he didn't say any other, he didn't say anything about Hispanic, anything. Ask a white guy to throw a jab, and half of them are going to turn backwards and throw it like a girl and everything. Ask any black man on a street corner in any city in the world, and they will snap out a jab in a heartbeat. And I used to laugh. He said, they're just more physically gifted. And he said, and so they have speed, and better to stay away from them. Nothing.
You heard that? I didn't make that up. That's Cameron Duncan, the late, great Cameron Duncan, who confirmed that they have a no black fighter rule at Top Rank. That's not me. That was Cameron Duncan, man. It's not me. So when I say the WBC and the WBO co-conspired to freeze out Devin Haney, and they were using Teofimo Lopez to do so, That's what I mean. And all he had to do was beat George Kambosos, and he failed. And then he revealed that even if he had beat George, he was going to drop the belts. He was never fighting Devin. That's why they changed the rules for the franchise status. Y'all remember when the franchise status first came out? It wasn't transferable, which means you could exercise that status because you could move up and down in weight just to challenge a champion, but you can't have both. You can't be the real champion and the franchise champion. Right? Lomachenko ducked Devin by vacating the real belt and got a mythical belt, the franchise belt, right? He got that. And we said, yo, why not fight Devin? And instead of holding Lomachenko accountable, y'all start running around here calling Devin an email champion. All of you monkeys, too. Y'all did that. So then Loma goes ahead and fights Teofimo. Teofimo beats him. And all of a sudden, he gets the belt. And I said, I thought the belt wasn't transferable. Then Teo started running around talking about, I'm really undisputed. And Buckeye Knuckle Dragon Showbiz, yeah, I really think you undisputed. Press 1 if you stole it. No, you know he's not. Oh, I'm sorry, but you taking checks. You got calluses on your knees. Because we all know what you do. Buckeyed and big lips. I don't care how light-skinned you are, double agent. Buckeyed and big lips. Monkey. But here's what's crazy. They changed the rules, right? As soon as Teofimo Lopez wins it, they changed the rules right there in the ring. And we were like, what? They changed it. Then Teo starts running around saying, I'm undisputed. I'm like, no, he's not. Devin is the only logical fight. So then I said, hey, man, I'm going to like that fight. He didn't even want to do it. He played around with George Kambosos, lost. Then George starts saying, I'm really undisputed. And Devin had to go take care of that work. A lot of pump faking from Teofimo, right? Now, we've held Teofimo accountable this whole time, right? We have, right? Scott in that super chat salute, he says, I'm visiting the Big Apple in December. I might see you, Drew. If a guy with an Irish accent comes up to you, it's probably me. Well, hit my email, brother. When you're out here, if I'm available, we can connect. I'll bring you up to the Bronx. There's a whole Irish community up here on Katona Avenue. I mean, off the boat Irish. You'll fit right in, brother. They got real bars in there. Katona Avenue up here in the Bronx off of 233rd. Those are your people up and down that block. Seriously, off the boat. They're off the boat Irish over there. They cool. Salute. Blade Brown in that super chat salute. He says, I seen a clip of Shakur arguing with Bud that Teo was undisputed. What an effing clown. Really? You said that? Hey, Actor Squad, this is your show. Xavier, salute, bro. When you call me, bro, my wife got me doing stuff, and I'm like, damn, I be wanting to take the call. But yeah, this is Teo Negro, and I'm making the comparison. But yeah, Shakur, he would argue that Teo was undisputed. You know why? You know why? Because he always knew he'd end up fighting him. How many times you heard Shakur congratulate Devin for doing something that none of his contemporaries active today would do? Boots would only fight overseas because Eddie Hearn would tell him to do it. That's the only reason. But would he volunteer to fight overseas? I don't think so. And I'm still giving Bud a lot of slack. But I don't think he would. All these other kids would not. These kids are positioning for bread and they didn't do anything. Do you know the highlight, BF salute, the highlight of Shakur's career is beating Teo? And pretty much this is something we knew he could do. But with a Teofimo win, he catapults to like top, like probably #1 pound for pound. Are y'all crazy? The reality is Tio wasn't anything to begin with. Remember Sandor Martin. We thought he lost that. Remember Jermaine Ortiz. Remember Nakatani had him saying, I'll never fight a tall guy again. We knew Shakur would beat him. We just gave Tio a chance. We said, man, Tio, you know what we said? Shakur better not lay on those ropes like he did Zepeda, because Tio could punch. Yeah, thank you, Steve Claggett. Tio been a mark. That's why he was careful with his moves. And when he finally fought a black American fighter, I'm not talking about a black African, because African boxing style is very different. There's a difference between how Josh Cloudy fights and African Americans fight. And he schooled this dude. And as about a second round of that fight, I'm saying, look, see, told you, I knew it. He ain't gonna touch Shakur. And he smoked him. Ain't nobody checking for no Tio. Now you talking about, oh, I'm gonna run the 147. I'm gonna fight Devin. No, you not. Guess what? Y'all, you ready for this? What has Teofimo done to deserve a Devin Haney fight?
Whoa!
What?
Let's talk about it. He hasn't done a mother skunting thing. He hasn't done anything. Now, I asked Active Squad to pull up because I'm making the comparison. Keyshawn Davis is now known as Tio Negro. Y'all see the Rumble link at the top? Go now. I'm shutting down YouTube. Click the link at the top. Go to Rumble. And anybody representing the Active Squad, I will drop a link over on Rumble. Pull up. I want to talk to you. Click the link right now. We're shutting down YouTube. We're going to Rumble because I got to take the gloves off. Because Miguel, you don't qualify to hear what I have to say after I done cut down your fellow Latino. But here's the thing. Did I lie on this dude one time? No. I don't need to. So go to Rumble if you want to hear what I have to say about Tio Negro. Y'all going over there right now.